Can you imagine being raised by a parenting expert? I think that's why I became a psychologist, just to figure out what happened to me when I was a little kid. But, when I was really little, I was really good at getting my parents into arguments with me because they didn't know Love and Logic yet. But we're going to go back to the old days a little bit, and I'm going to be the kid, and he's going to be the teacher. And we're going to see a little Love and Logic in action here, and about how to neutralize these arguments so that the limits you set you can enforce. And so let's say that, I've just handed in a paper that is a month late, and your response is,
"Oh, no, you can't get credit for this. It's a month late."
What do you mean? I worked hard on this.
You had a warning.
You didn't tell me that, and my parents didn't know, and they couldn't help me if they didn't know. My mom's always telling me, you don't communicate well enough with the school.
Well, did you take home the paper?
Well, did you send her an email and tell her that?
I shouldn't have to do that.
If you cared, you would.
You can tell where this is going to go, right?
Well, he's not communicating well enough with my mom. That's the problem. It's not my fault. See? And see, when kids can argue with us, what can they also do? Deflect responsibility back on us so they never learn and grow. Let's try it. Can we do it the Love and Logic way this time?
Okay. Maybe.
Well, all right. Old patterns die hard, right? So now I have a cell phone. That's a classic one now, and I'm using it in class, and now you've asked me to.
Give me the cell phone. You know the rules.
You don't even care. What happens if there's an emergency?
So what did I say?
And what happens if there's an emergency? There could be a terrorist attack or something like this, and I wouldn't be able to get a hold of my parents.
That could be, and what did I say?
This is stupid. You're not even listening to me. I know where you learned that stuff. That Love and Logic class.
That could be, too.
That's the same class my mom took, and she's doing this stupid stuff, too.
And what did I say?
I forgot to take my medication.
I bet that's true. And what did I say?
By the way, have you ever heard that one? Yeah. I've always had this fantasy of looking at the kid and saying, "So did I." Please don't use that. Just think about it. It'll keep you happy inside. But a different scenario. Why do I have to move, man? I wasn't even doing anything wrong. And he's always, it's his fault.
That could be. And what did I say?
Well, if you think it could be, then...
And when do I argue?
That is so lame.
You know those signs that we've got up in there? What do those signs say? I argue at what?
That's pathetic. That's pathetic.
Well,
do kids actually talk this way to adults now? Yeah. I mean, we're being kind of nice because, this film might go to places where people are more conservative, so we don't want to shock anybody, but kind of toning it down. But I'm going to tell my mom. She's coming down here. She's a lawyer.
And the sign says I argue at, 12:15 and 3:15 daily, right?
I can't come then.
And when do I argue?
See, you don't even care. See, you always say that you care so much about us, but you don't even care. If you care, you'd listen. You never listen to me. Yeah.
I bet it looks
the only reason you became a teacher is to make all that money. Boss kids around all day long. Yeah.
And what's your appointment time?
Is this annoying or what? When we use these skills, what are we really doing? We're lowering our IQ. Yeah. See, we found that the educators and parents that deal the most effectively with arguing kids and manipulative kids develop an incredibly low IQ and a very low vocabulary when the kid starts to argue. What you say to yourself is, do not think, go brain dead, and stick with just one-liner regardless of what the kid says.
So if you go to your happy place is, so what did I say?
Yeah, and sometimes I actually think about fishing and stuff like that when a kid's arguing with me. That's when I'm most effective. Yeah. And
just a little reminder here. Can healthy adults tell the difference between a kid who's hurting and needs a sympathetic ear, and the kid who's just arguing to get out from under a limit? Yeah. And which one are we talking about right now? Second one. Yeah. Thank you.